Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to today's installment of Created for More, the podcast. Today, actually, as this episode is being recorded, it's actually International Women's Day. So, first of all, shout out to all the amazing women out there in the world making impact, making the world a better place. I honor your contribution. I celebrate you. I want you to know that you're seen, you're heard, you are loved. Okay? And together we'll continue to do the work to ensure that all biases against, all the things that we can do, that we're capable of, are broken, so that we can live, with equality as at the forefront of everything that we do. That is my wish to you today, and as we continue to celebrate all of March, because that's what we deserve, right? The whole month to celebrate us amazing women. I am here celebrating you and cheering you on. So one of such amazing women is actually in the studio with me today, and I am super excited to introduce her to you. I have got the amazing, phenomenal, wonderful Yagazie Eguare, and she's a renowned professional photographer, a creative force, note that, an educator, and a leader within the photography industry who is changing the narrative of photography in Africa through her premium photography brand, which is GazMadu Studios. She's the creative lead and founder of GazMadu Studios, a premium award-winning photography company that specializes in timeless portraits, documentary photography for weddings, corporate organizations, and more, including comprehensive educational resources for creatives in a thriving photography community. I'm just going to read a couple of bits that I feel like are so all of our profile is very, very noteworthy, but the few bits that really stuck out to me. Yagazie says she's on a mission to elevate, hear that word, elevate the perspectives of people in photography in Africa. She founded, the GazMadu education platform in 2019, and it's a trailblazing education platform that equips and empowers creatives across Africa to enhance their skills and build successful, thriving businesses so that they can impact their world with their distinct gifts and talent. I don't normally spend this much time on the bio, but this bio is worth it, like literally. And her education platform has impacted, check this out, in over 7,000 photographers to date. Yagazie, why are you so awesome? Like, I don't know, like, look at that. Oh my gosh, it is amazing to have you here. It is such an honor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. Very excited. I'm very excited.
It is lovely, lovely, lovely. Please introduce yourself beyond the script. Just park that script that I just read. Tell us, who are you? Who is Yagazie? What should we know about you? What is the essence of you?
Yagazie is just a girl, a child of God at the very core, and a girl that's loved by God and really helped by God. And I'd like to describe myself as a city set on a hill that can never be hidden. Yes, because I am just on a mission to shed God's light in me to the world, through the work that I do. Yes, as a photographer, as a mother, as a wife, as an educator, as a friend, as a sister, and just, to people generally. So at the very core, that's really everything that I am is very rooted in who I am in God.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think when you say there's just that thing in you that is just you know who you are. The core of you is, you've got God's light, and you're just going to shine it out to as many people as possible. Every time I
Absolutely.
hear that, just that understanding, because not everyone understands that. So I want to just kind of go back, like, at what point did you know that you carried something that was, unique, that the world needed?
So I've always grown up just knowing that there was just something in me that was just different. I didn't really
Mm,
know God that much, but I've always grown up just, knowing that, oh, I don't have to be part of the crowd. I can stand out, I can do something
mm,
different. And just growing up with this idea of living my life fully. I don't know, even from a young age. So when I'm in primary school, I'm like, I want to be able to do everything that I can do while I'm in
mm.
primary, while I'm in secondary school, I want to do everything. Okay, I think it was secondary school that it seems like I didn't be so much of that. And I still remember my secondary school days. I remember it as the time of my life where I felt like a shadow of myself,
Oh,
because it felt
wow.
like I didn't really know myself. And I think that had to do with how I left primary school into secondary school, right? So there was a lot until my senior secondary school days that things just started to shift. But when I entered university, I know deep down one of the first things I used to say was, I want to be every single thing that I can be here. I can be the best in my academics. I can enjoy every other, extracurricular I can be. So I was in a dance group. I was the leader of a dance group. I was really good. I went into politics a bit towards the end of school.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just that, having that, working in that consciousness that there is so much inside of me that the world needs to experience, and I'm just going to allow
Mm,
myself to express that at every stage and season of my life. Yeah.
and it's beautiful, right? Because a lot of times people don't, they almost disdain the fact that they are multi-potentialites, because you kind of feel judged, right? Don't you?
Yes.
Ah, you again today, politics, tomorrow
It's only
dance
you.
group, only you. So a lot of people don't want to embrace their lights, and it's so beautiful that somehow, was do you feel like, let's go back to your childhood, do you feel like when you were much, do you feel it was something that your parents instilled in you? Like, if there are any parents listening, is there something that you were perhaps told that helped you have that understanding, that realization from a really young age?
So I think for my dad just wanted us to just always be the best and just strive to be better. Like every time you come back with the results, he just lets you know that, this is good, but you can actually do better than this. You can push for
Mm,
more. And, just also growing up with that mentality, I grew up, I have three sisters, we're four girls and one boy. So I grew up just realizing, that like not being a female was not a limitation, because my dad never made us feel that way. So
mm,
he would just say, you can be better, you can do this better. And then my mom was just someone that was an encourager in every other aspect of life that is outside academics. So you're going to be in calisthenics, you're a dancer, you want to do this, and she's like, of course, let's do it. My dad told me, whatever you do, just make sure you
make
come
your
back with a good
academics.
result. So I think so with the two of them being that way, it was just a good balance, right? So,
Mm,
paying attention to my dad, you're like, okay, you know what, I'm always going to make sure that I'm doing well. Then my mom was more liberal and just saying that, just be, I want you guys to experience life, and, so
mm,
that eventually you can now, don't be confined by where you are or what you're
mm.
currently doing. Yes.
And this is very important now, right? To the conversation, I talked about the fact that it's International Women's Day today, as at time of recording, but it's about breaking biases.
Yes.
So what I hear you say is, you weren't stereotyped, in that conventional way, as most people are culturally where we are from. You're a woman. You have to maintain a certain lane. You have to stay on the straight and narrow. There were no biases. Like, it looks like your father kind of did, or your mother as well, did some work in terms of helping you break that, but some biases that you might even hold against yourself as a woman.
Yes, and especially I think it will be my dad, because my dad never ever made us feel like there was something wrong with us being female. he would always just push us. We would do everything. We would wash the car, wash the tire. You learn how to, the generator, you learn how to turn it on. So like there was just nothing. Oh yes,
Wow.
there was just nothing. So he never got us, he would teach you to drive. So he never made us feel. I think it was when I started growing up in maybe in university and leaving university, and then, I started hearing a lot about. I'm like, oh wow, I just never thought that there was anything that I could not do, or there was anything that was impossible
Oh,
for me. And it was
wow.
my dad. It was my dad, because he just never made us feel that way. My brother, my only brother, he did everything. So he was not made he wasn't any special because he was the only boy. He was not special in any way. So we're just all literally the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
interesting. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. My own experience is actually quite different from yours. My dad, I grew up in a house of, my dad had many, long Nigerian story, many, it's a mixed family, blended
Yeah.
family, as they say. And my dad was very pro male gender. He was always
Mm.
about the boys. And my dad will actually say to you in your face, like, oh, you're a woman now. You're just going to go and marry. Do you understand? It is the men that we have to really, really think about. My dad will tell you in your face. So talk about growing up with a bias.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
I grew up with a massive bias. In fact, the other one that I can remember was one day I was feeling, and I write about this in my book actually, I was feeling my jam form. And it's funny, like it's a really funny story, but it's actually weird. I can't even explain it. But I was feeling my jam form, and my uncle walks into the door and he says to me, oh, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm feeling my jam form. Like my dad didn't really care. Whatever you wanted to do, you could do in that regard. Like he was just very busy. My dad says, well, my uncle says, what are you doing? I said, like, oh, I'm feeling my jam form. It's like, what are you putting in to study? And I was like, oh, I'm putting in, I want to be an architect because I've always been artsy. Architecture was just that perfect blend between science and arts. So I
Wow.
just always naturally felt that was my natural place in life. I was like, oh, no, you can't be an architect. Architects, they stand for long hours. You're not a man, you're a woman. I'm telling you, it's so funny. And then what was interesting about the story was what then he now said for me to do. He says, you know what? I
Oh.
think you should actually be a petroleum engineer because we're from the Niger Delta. So we need
Mm.
more representation in the oil and gas
Ah.
industry. Would you believe that was the way my life just changed from that day? I actually filled in petroleum engineering and I studied petroleum engineering because of that.
Wow.
I'm telling you. And the reason I say this is it is so important. This thing where people are, they're conditioned to believe that there are limitations. It
Yeah,
is
really different.
so real. It
It's so
is so
real.
steeped into the fabric of who we are. And sometimes it's not just, outside people looking out and telling you who you are and what you can do. It's also because you have imbibed that. You then create your own limitations as well on top of that and say, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I can do based on what I see every single person around me doing. I honestly, that was the way my trajectory of my life just kind of, change. You studied engineering, didn't you? I think I read somewhere. Was it
No, I
engineering?
studied. No, I studied optometry. I'm an
Optometry.
optometrist.
An
Yes.
optometrist. Okay, so I want to
Yes.
get into this story. How did you veer off? So you did secondary school, I want to rule the world. Then you get into university. Was that what you wanted to do initially?
So I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I explored. I think secondary school is such a stage where there's just towards the end. I just felt like there was just a lot of confusion around what I was going to do. It's almost like I didn't know myself so fully. But then I would say I really liked art. I was like, okay, maybe I'll do fine art. I'll do architecture and all of that. But then I just loved the idea of being a doctor. Not that I necessarily wanted to, right? So I wasn't able to get admission into medical school. And then, the optometry came up, and my dad just said, would you like to explore this? And I was like, oh, okay. It kind of looks interesting. And then that's just how I just went into it. So there was no deep thinking process around what I was going to study. I was just like, you know what, let me just get this thing going. And I just always just had that belief that, whatever I do, wherever I find myself, I'm just going to do well in it. So I don't remember having that, thinking so deeply, because again, at that point I didn't really know what I wanted. That was the honest truth. I didn't know what I wanted. Yeah, but then I feel while in university, it's almost like my path just started to open up, right? One of the things I just told myself was, as you get into university, you're going to be very good at your academics, and you're going to be happy in the sense that you're just going to experience university so much, so fully, so that you don't leave and now start wishing, oh, I wish I did this, oh, I could have explored this, I could, that sense of just feeling
looking back.
Yes. So I mean, I think that was my primary objective, even going into university, beyond what I was studying. I just wanted to
experience everything. So you've always been conscious of life, like
yes, and it's quite surprised when I think about it, and I'll say, why was I thinking then, when I'll say, oh, I just want to be happy, I want to be able to, I didn't realize I was that conscious of life, living, actually.
Living, yes. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So how did you then go? Let's track your progress from optometry to what you're doing now. Like, how did how optometry photography, like how did that happen?
So the thing is, and when I think about my journey, I just realized that God is really the architect of our lives, and just he kind of just knows how to work things out. So I mean, photography has always been there, in the sense that it's one of those hobbies that that I just had. And like in the family, when everybody has that one thing that is just unique to them, mine would be, oh, Gazie has all the pictures of everybody. She's the one that spends the most time on the computer trying to edit and do all of those. She's the one that steals my mom's cameras. She's the one that would just go to the lab for no reason to go and print pictures that she took that are dark. But again, I didn't give any thought to it, because I'm just like, this is not something anybody can become. Because again, I did not see anyone around me.
Bias.
Exactly. Wow. I didn't see anyone around me that gave me that picture of being successful, because I imagined that I was going to be a successful person. I realized I will not be suffering and being by the road and holding camera. So because I didn't see that didn't form into any thought in my mind. So it just felt like, like this is just something aside that you should just have, and all of that. So even through secondary school, in the beginning years of university, that's actually how it has been. And I remember the first time I bought my first camera for myself, I was like the happiest person ever. I could not just understand the depth of joy I felt. I felt like I'd done myself something so good. But again, I did not make anything out of all of these things. That's the truth. I think it was until my final year in school that, when people would talk about, we're going to practice, we're going to build clinics, we're going to do all of that, I was very good, right? But then again, I would just find myself not participating in such conversations, because, I'm so intuitive, and I'm just like, I don't see this. Like, I don't see myself. And I'll tell them that I just see after NYSC, I see a cutting close with optometry, and I really don't know why.
You said that.
Yes, I knew.
This is the point where people are coming out of university and they are filled with hope. They see a career, like, this is what I've been going to school for the last how many years. This is what I'm going. You didn't see it.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it. And I was very good in just saying people that I just don't see it. And they're like, what do you mean? I knew they're going to be one of the. I was like, I see you guys, you're going to do, but me, myself,
and you did well. You did well. I mean, so it wasn't like, you didn't do well, and that is why you didn't.
It was a surprise to my colleagues. It was actually a shock to my colleagues that I actually left optometry, because I was one of the best in my class. But then again, it's still that, because I came into school saying, you know what, it's like just living your highest life in wherever you are. So while I'm an optometrist, while I'm studying optometry, why not be good at it? Why do you want to be average? Do you get what I'm saying? When you can be good. you know. So yeah, so while the university, so that's how but I didn't know what it was. And I would just think, I was like, okay, why do I feel this way? Why am I not able to have these conversations? Why am I not envisioning, you know, being, no, I wasn't envisioning any of that. But when I said, okay, I said when I was going to come for my internship, the only thought that went through my mind was like, you know what, I'm just going to learn. I really like photography. I just want to just be better at it, you know, since it's going to be my hobby. Since it's my hobby, I really don't know what I'm going to do in my life, but we're just going to keep it going, you know. And then I told my friends, I wasn't in Lagos, and I told my friends then I really want to learn, you know, photography, entertainment, anything. So if they see anything, they should just let me know. Yeah, so so when I came to Lagos for my internship, I got one of my friends said to me, oh, there's this training happening, I think you should go. And that's when I went. And then when I went for the training, I was like, what? I was like, scratch that. This is all
this
I
is my life
to be in my entire life.
And what was representation? What factor did representation play for you in that?
Because I now saw photographers in Lagos. And you know what I would ask them that was so fascinating to me? I would ask, is this what you're doing full time? You know, because it was such a shocker to me, because I was like, you know, you mean you can do this and you can be successful and this can be all that you're doing, and you know, you're not hungry, you're not. And yeah, I was taught by Kelechi Amadiobi, you know, some of the really successful photographers, and I went to their office, I'm like, wow, okay, like it was so important. And then I would see, even then seeing T.Y. Bello like on the TV, there was time I saw her, and I just saw her and I was like, oh wow, there's someone doing this. So representation was so important, because it needed to validate, like I saw it like a way of validating my dreams, or something that I was longing for, but it was just waiting for that representation to find better expression. Do you get? To just make me realize this is possible, you know.
Yes.
It's okay. It's okay for you to
permit
this.
You come. You can come.
Yes.
There's room here for you.
There's room here, you know. It's okay for you to want this. You're not out of place, you know. So that was it for me. And once I just saw that, I was like, wow, this is really. And I learned, and then I got my camera. I didn't care about being a doctor anymore. Like my mom would say, my doctor, I was like, mom, call me a photographer. This is all I want you to call me for the rest of my life. I don't care about any other thing. I was so proud. Like I was so proud. Even then, it wasn't such a big deal. Even my uncles would say, don't worry, all these ones you're doing, you'll soon phase out. But I knew, I was like, no, this is all I want to do. Like I felt like I was being drawn into something. And then when I came there, it was like, wow, this is my life. You know, I didn't understand it fully, but I knew inside of me that no, this is more than just I love doing this thing. Yeah.
So let us deconstruct so that we get some principles, because I want people to really understand, because it's a lot of times people can listen to the story and get, oh, this is such a great story. No, I want people to take away something from this. The first thing is you permitted yourself to go in and experience, right, a full range of emotions, full range of different things. You talk about how, you know, if I'm doing optometry, it wasn't about optometry in university. It was about the experience of university and just throwing yourself at everything. And I believe possibly from that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that freedom of expression, that freedom of just being there, was there maybe something that allowed you or permitted you to see other interests out of your core optometry?
Absolutely. Okay. I think it gave me more courage to realize that, you know, even I can dream outside where I am. Do you get? Like I said, I was the leader of a dance group. You know, I went into politics a bit. I explored all of that. I did election. I did manifesto, all of those things. You know, it just made me realize that I can't be defined by where I am or what I am doing right now. Like my life is so much more than this, right? And it's okay at any point where any diversion happens. I think it gave me more courage, because I just wanted to live. I just wanted to be, I just wanted to live and experience life.
I love it.
Again, because I thought in my secondary school, I felt like I was a shadow of myself. Like I did. So I came into university just wanting to really experience, of course, being grounded in who I am. I wasn't like careless or anything. I was very mindful. But then again, I just wanted to be good at every single thing, and don't just be a academic or a spiritual. I just wanted to, then do other things. Like anything I find that, oh, I'm interested in it, I give myself the permission to just explore it. If it works, it works. It doesn't, that's okay.
I think what you said there is probably one of the most significant points. Any single thing that you're interested in, you give yourself permission to explore it, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back because we feel so constrained by the molds that society has created. We feel if you are this, you are that. And life is calling you, your purpose is calling you and saying, hey, this is here, it's there for the taking. But you just don't feel that you can, because you don't see a world. And also I want to talk about you just being able to see outside of optometry. That just is so beautiful. I mean, you talk about how as your university was closing, you saw the curtains literally coming down, and that is it. And being able to own that as well and say it's not a sign of failure. Do you know how many people struggle with this?
Wow.
Like, I go to university and I study this and I don't do it. People are living in regret.
In regret, yeah.
Because they feel like I have failed a part of who I am, because it means I am not good enough.
I think I think it's just now, maybe when we start to look ourselves as just one, our lives as just one thing, not just, not realizing that, where all our lives are in seasons and phases, and, there's just so much more about you. So, I mean, even for me, even being a photographer now, I'm still approaching it with every sense of urgency and every sense of every single thing that I can do now. I need to do it, because again, right, in the next 10, 15 years, if there is a turn that is going to take, my life is going to take, I'm not going to look back and say, oh, you know what, why when I was there, I wish, since I'm no longer a photographer, my life has ended. I mean, our life is not like you can't just, I mean, human life is so diverse, and I think that's where God is just waiting and saying, how can you just think that this is all I have prepared for you? And then if we now fail wherever we are, if we fail to fully live it or fully be there, I think that's where that regret also starts to come in, because you feel like, you just drag, while you're there, I mean, you've been doing this podcast and it's so amazing, and just that continuously doing, there's a whole lot that is coming out of all of these things. But over time, because things will just gradually evolve, and that's part of us becoming more of who God has created us to be. And as we evolve, we're supposed to look back, and that part is supposed to help to shape the next part. So because I was good as an optometrist, it just helped me. It made me a better business, and it made me more sensible, obviously. It made me also push for more, see myself as I am only going to be the best, because if I was already doing well here, there's no other way. I can't go back. So it's almost like it's not a regret. It's still part of the journey. Nothing was missing.
This is so good. This is so good, because what I'm hearing you say is, if at every single stage of your life you are maximizing yourself, so every time you are pivoting, you are taking experiences from that part, and you're moving to the next. So there's no time for regret, because it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Oh my gosh, amazing. And I think everything that you have said speaks to the spirit of breaking the biases that we have about ourselves. Fitting into molds. I think beyond every single thing that is going to be said about International Women's Day, everyone's going to be talking about how men see us, how our parents raised us, how but I think the most important one is the biases that we hold
on our own self
against ourselves.
I was thinking about it today about the breaking biases with the men, and it just I just got in myself. I was like, women should just leave, just leave, let yourself, because I think it's even beyond the parent. Yeah, they are the ones that the society, the parents and all of those things, but we can't keep going back and defining ourselves based on all. Wherever you
Mm,
are right now, how can you just be and
mm,
leave? And give
mm,
yourself that permission to just say it's okay. Yeah, I may
mm,
not have gotten it right before, but I am where I am right now, and I'm
mhm,
just gonna pick it up and I'm going to keep moving forward. Yeah, I'm
mm.
not going to define myself by my past experiences, or what men think of us, or whether they want to give you permission. They don't even need to. Just take it, like, just go.
Just take it. Just take it. Don't wait for anyone to give you anything. Just take it. You can take it. I love it. That is so powerful. So now I want us to track. Okay, you've gone into launched in as a photographer. You're doing all this stuff. You're doing well. I mean, where does this other sense of empowering others come from? Like, it's not enough for you to take photos. Eh? It's not enough for you to be a photographer. Now you have to. I want to talk about that transition,
Yeah.
that pull where more starts to, come out that this is
Yes.
not enough. Even in this
Yes.
photography space, the landscape that I'm in, what does it look like to fully maximize this? How was
Maximize
that
it.
transition for you? And where did that come from?
So I think it came from I've always been someone that just, I love the idea of working with people. And I just love the idea of people generally, because I led a dance group. I was growing in my class. So I've always had this, people thing. And then when I would envision myself in, the future, I would see people, like I see myself in the midst of people. So when I finished, as I started being a photographer after the first 3 years, and then I started thinking back and I started realizing that, you know what? This is not it, right?
Again, here you go.
I know, because it's just me.
It's
And when
beautiful,
I,
though.
yeah, because it's just me, it didn't fit into that what I envisioned, because there are people are not connected to this, right? And when I would talk to people back there, I'll say, "Oh, how do you see your life?" And when they say your life in the future, and I'll just say, "Oh, I see myself inspiring a lot of people and connecting with people." So because I also saw that, see, my life is so much more than my me by me. It's not at all about me. And I realized that, what, I'm gonna have to bring people into this as much as possible. So when I opened up the business, the first thing I did was get someone, hire an assistant to say, you know what, come, let's work together, and then I'm just going to be giving you something. And as early as possible, I actually just started teaching people, right? Even when I didn't know so much, I was like, at least I know
Mhm.
something to share with someone, right? And I think I just had that courage, and just, I think by my third year as a photographer, we had hosted a workshop to just, and then I started seeing, I saw myself being drawn to photographers that teach other photographers, or that inspire, so especially international photographers. So I would be drawn to them. And when I am drawn to them, I realize I'm not just drawn to them because I want to learn from them. I'm drawn to them because of the work they do in impacting other people. That their
Mm.
work was beyond them and it was overflowing to other
Mm.
people. So it was over
Mm.
time that I realized, oh, this is really the reason why you admire these people. It wasn't just that they're really good, but because they are good and they are very invested in helping other people be good. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So because, so it was just, I started small, and then gradually I started seeing that, what, teaching is also something that I really, really enjoy doing.
I love it.
Uh,
I love the fluidity. That's exactly as you said earlier. God has more for us.
yes.
He has more for us. And the only limits that we ever face are the ones that we set ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
I love the fluidity. So you started the GazMadu
Education.
educational, education. I read, I think on your profile earlier, 7,000 photographers, or was it 9,000? I think it was 9,000.
7,000.
7,000 photographers that you're looking to impact. That's so audacious. You didn't even say, oh, maybe 100 or 200. No, I want to do 7,000. Just what I mean. And I love it. What is that thing in you that's, what does being a visionary require from if somebody else is listening to this now, and I'm trying to make this as practical as possible, someone is listening to this and is inspired and say, you know what, I want to do more as well in the space that I am. What is that path of a visionary leader that helps them understand the responsibility that they have, and also casting big visions like that?
I think, sorry, the question is, what is
that responsibility that visionary leaders have? I kind of ask the same question. I'll ask the question that's come to my head now. But what's that responsibility that, visionary leaders have to cast, wide and big and audacious visions around the things that, they feel that they have been called to do?
I would say, the first responsibility would be to God, right? And second would be to self. Now, there is a place for honoring the burden that you feel in your heart regarding something, and just realizing that you are in this world as a co-creator with God. So it means that when something has been put inside of you like a burden, or you feel like, you're constantly always feeling a certain way about, an injustice or something just happening somewhere, that is not ordinary. It's like an invitation for you to come into a wide space of now doing God's work on a very broad perspective. But then to be able to do that, you would have to be grounded first in yourself and in your identity, and go through the rigorous but continuous inner work until you're able to find yourself and understand, what does it really mean for me to be this person, or to be a visionary? What does it mean for me? What does it mean for me to be a leader? How would I need to lead myself in order to be at the point where I can lead other people? What are the things that I need to learn about myself, or learn about my journey? Or how do I, because I think, because it's one aspect to feel like you're a visionary, you want to do all this and all these things, but I feel like if you miss the self part, impact
cannot be sustainable.
It cannot be sustainable. Because one day you're feeling so inspired, you're just like, you know what, I can do this, people are so excited and all of those things. And then you tire out, and then you're like, nah. I didn't know that this is what it was going to do. So for me, I think when I went through I didn't just come out and say, you know what, I just want to impact 7,000 people. It was not the ambition. It can't be the ambition. I want to, no. It was just saying that I feel this burden in my heart, and I'm going to give myself the permission to do what God will have me do in it. But before then, I had to go through really rigorous, deep inner work myself to just understand who I am and be grounded in who I am. Because once you come out as a visionary and you're doing things that are big, if you're not strong enough, you will be swept under the carpet, because there's just so many things that are going to come at you, right? So I think God goes through that process of doing, working on the person, like making the person, so that the person can now join him in making the world, or bringing in more people. So I went through that process, and just went through such a painful process, both for my life, my business, every single thing, and just being at that very point of giving up and just saying, you know what, I don't want to do any of these things anymore. And and then getting closer to God, and just realizing that was when I started getting more and more grounded in my identity in Christ. And got more grounded in my identity in Christ. I realized that there is a calling upon my life, that this is not just, oh, you're a photographer. No, you're called to people, and photography is a tool that you're going to use to get to the people that I have sent you to. It is not who you are. You are more than being a photographer. Photography is a tool. Your education is a tool. So you're going to use this tool as efficiently as possible to get through to the people. And as you get through to them, they're going to get through to. So I had to see myself and my journey from a bigger perspective beyond, oh, I'm just holding a camera and taking a picture. You're not just doing that. You're helping people, you're restoring self-identity in the lives of women. You're helping them see themselves the way that I have created them. So when they see themselves, they are able to become more of who I have made them to be. It is not you taking pictures. It is you. It is you helping creators and photographers to understand that, no, I didn't just call you to be this. There is a problem that you're here to solve. And if you work on yourself well, if you educate your well, you're more refined to be able to solve that problem. So it's beyond you just saying, oh no, I just casually came into this. You're actually part of the puzzle. You're as important as every other career that is out there, especially as the world is becoming, the creative industry is just coming out and becoming more prominent. So I'm going through that work really just, so with that knowledge and standing in that authority, that's where I started to operate from, right? So it was just beyond, oh no, this is something I just want for my own self and just I'm going to be important and all of those things. Yeah, I saw it deep, and I saw it as a responsibility. If I don't do it, destiny's lives are connected to this, right? And seeing how much my work has gone, and when people come back and say, oh wow, this, and then I just go back to God. I'm just like, God, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm so grateful, and I'm surrendering myself again. Just keep using me, because if this is what is going to, imagine if I don't do this. Imagine if I say, you know what, I'm tired. You can't be tired. It's not about you. You would have to demote yourself, so that to allow that thing, to allow that person to find expression. It's not about you. It's about the people, the thousands. It's about those 2 people that are going to reach 10 people, the 10 people that will reach 100 people, the 100 people that will reach 2,000 people. It's a chain thing, but you have to stand up first and realize that you are responsible for that number of people.
I am holding my breath. That's why you're not hearing me speak. Literally holding my breath, because I think if I breathe, maybe she'll stop. No. That was epic and powerful. I think for me, just hearing you say it is not about photography, it is not about optometry, it's not about this. It's the tool that helps me reach the people. It's about the people that have been. And if you're able to see things from this perspective, your life changes. This is the biggest and most significant discovery that can help you break any mold.
Absolutely.
Any mold.
Absolutely.
Any single mold. I often say, like, the biggest call upon our lives is like when people say to me, oh, I don't know my purpose, I don't know the. Look, we all know the purpose. Like, literally, Jesus Christ told us the purpose. Come, I'll make you fishers of men.
Amen. Yeah.
That's your purpose. Whichever tool is the tool, whichever tool you use to do it. Ultimately, we all have the same purpose.
Yes, people.
It's people. We're all created to be lighthouses, light, so that all men can see. That is our purpose. No one has a different calling in this world. We all have the same calling. And if that is all you take from this, you listener, this episode was for you. You have drawn something deep out of Yagazie today, something very deep. And the reason is because it's for you to go and do something about it. We've broken down the principle so that you understand it. You have been called to people. Whatever professional, whatever silos that you find yourself, whatever functional roles that you are in, it is just a tool. The people. And if you can see see your life from the people you've been called to serve. Your entire life takes on a whole new perspective. You're more fluid. You can move. You don't feel tied.
You're not tied to anything. No, because the tool can change anytime and it's fine. The purpose is still the same,
The purpose is exactly still the same. The tool changes, but the purpose remains exactly the same. What a riveting conversation. Thank you so much. I want to touch on just one last thing as we close, just around, and this might help someone. This will help someone. Just being, and let's talk about entrepreneurship, right?
Right.
We've talked about the fact that, I want to talk about the importance of building sustainable businesses to the core. We've identified that our purpose is people. But what is that important? Why is it important? Why is money important? You've gone on, you've built you've got a great business. But why is money important? Why some people say, I just want to do, my business, my thing. Everyone's going on starting foundation, and they're looking for money from other people. Why is money important?
I think money is an inevitable thing that is supposed to come as long as you're working actively in line with God's purpose for your life. It's not something we actually should chase after. It's actually something that should just come to us. But then again, you have to desire it. And also understanding that we are in this world, for the Christians out there, but we're not of this world. And there are principles that this world recognizes and respects and answers to, right? And wealth is one of them, whether you like it or not, right? Right? The wealthy people get more influence from the people, not because they have anything, but just because maybe they are able to just solve some immediate problems that they have. Money is so important because it just makes it, money is important because it is just going to empower or even make it easier for us to carry out the work that we've been called to, and not just it doesn't become burdensome. It should not be burdensome, right? So as a woman now, I have, I'm a photographer, I have an educational platform, I have this, I have a family, I have children, I have this. Imagine if there's no money anywhere. Those dreams will be stifled and they'll be drowned just because out of lack, right? Because again, money is a tool to ensure, to just help us sort out some basic life, answer some basic life, problems, just so that we don't have to, we can just focus more on our calling, on exactly what we are here for.
I love it.
And building a sustainable business is just that funnel that just makes it, you're creating a platform so that wealth can continuously be generated, not just for you, but for every other person that is also connected to you. And it's so important to, pay attention to the business. And I think not be afraid to make money or be ashamed to make money. I think that's one of the things, a lot of we women find it, and I see it in men, and I quite admire it, the boldness and their, audaciousness to just demand for money and just believe that, we're not here to play small games, right?
I see my husband, honestly, makes me, I never really understood the core differences. When they call about this whole gender pay gap thing, I never really understood, because I was living in my own little bubble, just when they give me anything, like I work, oh, thank you, and I never really understood it until, when obviously I got married and I started to see and experience life through my husband's eyes. These people, men, they're ruthless in asking for money.
Yeah.
I even sometimes I'll be like, are you asking for another pay rise? Like, what have you done? Like, say, but I demand it. In fact, they see it as an affront. They did not give me for what? Women are just feeling like thankful. Thank you that I have a
Yes,
job.
thank you, job.
And
Yeah.
men are going out there and are demanding. They
Monday.
are asking. They are, and if you don't ask, you don't get. They are
Get.
negotiating the value that they carry on the inside of them. And women are just, feeling as if, at the end of the day, I'll wait until someone calls me and, they want to be nice and safe.
Yeah,
But
we want to be nice. We don't want to be seen as,
money
being
grabbing.
money grab. And I think it's just we all intentionally have to just work, because that's a bias to be broken. In fact, they continuously on a very intentional and frequent basis, where you come to terms with understanding that it's okay to amass wealth for yourself as a woman. It's okay. Like, it doesn't make you less of who you are. It doesn't make you, it's just okay, because as the men are able to do it, because they are humans, you also have the capacity to do it. So I say that a lot to myself, and I had to start surrounding myself with a lot of money confessions, to just because I realized that I've had these mindsets around money, these blocks around money growing up, and with the society, that in order for me to build a business that is going to be big and it's going to be sustainable, that it's going to make wealth, I need to break those mindsets continuously, so that I never see them as a barrier, and I give myself the permission to say, yes, you can be paid. You deserve to, you deserve to be paid for the value that you offer, and paid well, and that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. And that's where we're going to leave it, because I want that to be the resounding word that is in your mind when you get off this podcast. It is okay for you to be paid what you are worth. That is the last bias that we've just shattered as we're going off this podcast. This has been such an amazing session, Yagazie. You've blessed me so much. I personally have had so many aha moments. I celebrate you for the gift that you are to the world. I can't wait to see the many things that you're going to go on to. I don't want to ask you what next, because I don't feel you know. You will find out, because you're evolving.
Exactly. I'm just evolving. I'm like fluid, you know what? I'm just moving, While I'm here, I'm going to be all that I can be.
And that's exactly what we should all adopt. Thank you so much for being on the show today. God bless you. Speak to you soon.
Bye.